Welcome, my friends, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Lorna Schumann with the Illinois State Museum, and today we are here at the Illinois River exhibit, inside the Changes exhibit. And in fact, we're going to talk about how features, those are parts of animals or things that animals have, really help them do important things and survive so that they can thrive. And basically, thrive means to do really well. So you ready? Let's learn a little bit about it. So what are some features that are really important to animals? What kind of groups could we put them in? And really, when we start breaking them down, there's three really important groups. One is protection, or way that they keep themselves safe. The other is how they keep themselves warm or cool. And the third one really is about how they're able to blend into their environment, called camouflage. And so we're going to look at some of those with the animals here in this exhibit and one other. So the first one I want to talk about is the beaver. Now he's up over my shoulder. Can you see him? He's really cool, and he's very important. He's a very important animal for our river. So if you look right up over here, you can see him. So the first thing is he blends in really well to his environment. That's called camouflage. And part of that is to keep him safe. But the other thing is if you notice his fur is thick. So let's look over here, my friends, because I brought a beaver pelt. You see this pelt? The pelt is what's the skin and the fur of an animal. And so when we look at this, we can see that it's really thick, and it has two pieces to it. It has the warm piece underneath, which are these pieces, and the guard hairs over the top. So one of the things the guard hairs do is they help keep them dry. The underneath hairs, the downy hairs, help keep them warm. And that's really important. But you'll notice something else. Do you see how shiny the fur is? Well, that's because it's got a lot of oil on it, which is one of the ways that they help keep them dry. Now, something else that beavers also have are those two front teeth. Those are really important things that help them get their food. And that's really another thing that you can think about as a feature that animals have. For the beaver, they have those long teeth so they can chew into their food and into wood so that they can help build their shelters. Well, there's lots of other animals here that do lots of really cool things. Are you ready to go see some more? Let's walk down over here to another part of the exhibit. Come on. Okay, so here we are, my friends, at another part of the Illinois River exhibit. And we're going to look some more at some other animals. If you look right behind me, do you see that animal on the log? It might be hard to see. And the main reason is because it's camouflaged or blended in to its environment. It's a turtle. Pretty cool, huh? And the turtle really does blend into its environment for a couple of different reasons. It really does a little bit of both. One, because it's trying to hide from something that will eat it, a predator. And two, because it wants to hide from what it's gonna eat, which is its prey. So that's something to think about, but you can see how he nicely blends into the log, and he's a little hard to see. Well, turtles don't only camouflage. Here's some other things that they do. Their shell is really, really hard. So you see this shell right here? This shell is a turtle shell, and you can see inside of it that the turtle shell is really part of the turtle. If you look in there really tight, you might be able to see its backbone, because its shell grows out of its backbone. And that's really important because a turtle's shell is very protective for them. They can also pull their arms and legs into their shell so they can keep the water out and keep the predators out. Some turtles can even have soft enough shells they can close their shell closed. So that's pretty cool. Now something else that they also have is they have claws. And those claws really help in a lot of ways for them to actually swim, because if you look between their toes, they have little webbed feet. So that's another feature that really helps them. Now here's something else. We're gonna look right up over here, my friends, and I've got two animals that are hiding. Can you see them? It may be really hard. Well, one of them looks like the beaver, but he's not the beaver. It's the muskrat. And just like the beaver, his fur is nice and warm, keeping him warm. But do you look right below him? Can you see the other animal? It's really hard because it's really well camouflaged. It's a water snake. Can you see it? Kind of cool, huh? Well, my friends, let's look down right over here towards this area. And what you see right here is we have a bunch of mussels. I know some of you might call them clams, but they're really mussels. And this down here is called their foot. Yes, they actually have a foot. The foot anchors them into the water. But here, they camouflage so well when they're in here that keeps them safe that they look like a bunch of other rocks. Look back over in here and up over in here. Can you see all those little mussels peeking out of the ground? Those little bumps that come up like little tents? Those are mussel shells. That's a pretty cool way and feature for them to be able to get into the ground. Well, my friends, let's go see if we can learn some more about some of the animals. We're gonna go down over to the beach exhibit. Are you guys ready? Let's go. So here we are at the beach shrubland, which is part of the wetland area, much like the Illinois River was. And we're gonna look a little closer at some other animals. What's kind of interesting, if you look over here, this is the way that Chicago looked over 300 years ago, before there was a town there. Pretty cool, huh? But look down over here, you'll notice the first animal you see is a black bear. Yes, my friends, we had black bears here. Now, the interesting thing about black bears, they don't camouflage very much here in our area, but you notice that they have really nice, warm fur, and that's important, okay? So that helps them in a lot of ways. But the other thing they have is they have sharp claws. And what you can see, if you look over at the baby and down here at the adult, you might see some of those sharp claws. They're used for digging. They're also used for catching what they eat, and it helps them in lots of other ways. Now here's the thing. Here we are at the beach. Do you think you can find some other animals? Let's look and see. Let's go right over here by the baby bear. And you look up there, and there's two animals in there. Can you see them? The first one is the killdeer. That's the bird way back there by the baby bear. And what you see is he really camouflages well. But something else you may not see about the killdeer is he has really long legs so he can walk on the sand and walk along the shore of the water. Now, here's something else. Do you see the other small animal right over here? That's a striped ground squirrel. And he doesn't necessarily blend in right up there inside the bushes, but if you look, he's really the color of the sand that was here, and that helps him blend in. Well, my friends, I hope you learned a little bit about the different types of features that animals use to help them. There's many other features, things like their movement and the way they do things, the type of tools that they might use to help them. Well, there are some ways that really, really help them to survive. And something I want to ask you is, what are some other ways that you can think of animals that help them survive so they can survive? Think about that, my friends. Thanks for joining me.